welcome back to my channel. I've just arrived in Toronto after a few days in New York. If you haven't seen that video yet, I will leave a link to it in the description. This is my first time in Canada, so I am very excited to see what it's like. I've arrived at Union Station. It's the main station in Toronto. As soon as you come out of the station, you can see the CN Tower. And a few steps away from the station, I have arrived at my hotel. This is my room. The lovely man on reception very kindly allowed me to check in early, and he also upgraded my room for me. I'd originally booked an economy room, which is a really tiny little room, but he gave me like a standard double, which was very nice of him. I was absolutely Hank Marvin by the time I got to my hotel, so I headed out in search for lunch. Moose! Oh, I didn't know Toronto had a tram. That's so cool. So I found this little place. They do Middle Eastern food and they have got a vegan option advertised on their menu. So I ordered that. It's really cool when you see a vegan option on a menu that isn't just falafel. I've got nothing against falafel, but as a vegan you tend to have so much of it. Here's the wrap. It looks really good. Let's give it a try. It was falafel. Nice falafel, but when I was expecting something different, it's a bit disappointing. I'm not sure if it's the menu that wasn't very clear or if I'm just very tired and having a bit of a ditzy moment. I did think about doing the sightseeing bus, but honestly I was too tired, so I headed into the subway station to have a look. I ended up buying a ticket to go back to Union Station. It's only a couple of stops away, but I wanted to check out the train. There were only two things that I really wanted to see in Toronto. The first one obviously is the CN Tower, and the second one is something that is very, very close by. As I was walking to the tower, I saw something out the corner of my eye. It looked a bit like a skunk, but I was pretty sure that it wasn't. I zoomed the camera in and it looks like a squirrel, but it's black. I've never seen a squirrel that's black before. I'm completely fascinated by the little dude. When I Google it later, it turns out that England is full of black squirrels. Apparently there were more of them than grey ones. Who knew, eh? He doesn't seem too bothered by me shoving the camera in his face. In fact, he even jumped right on my foot. Anyway, this is the other thing that I want to see. It's the Steam Whistle Brewery. I'm not bothered about the brewery, I just want to see the choo-choo trains. The brewery is built on the site of a former steam train repair facility. Interesting fact, the CN Tower was actually built by the Canada National Railway Company. Apologies if you don't like trains, but please indulge me for a few moments whilst I have a little geek moment and possibly piss my pants a bit in excitement. Okay, that was almost too much for me, so I'm going to head over to the tower. When I get there, I realised that the lifts are made of glass, and I got really scared and decided not to go in. And then I told myself to stop being such a baby and get back in the queue.
That is beautiful.
Takes about like 58 seconds. Like yellow. It's funny because you keep thinking we're gonna be there already.
Look, it's so good.
Yeah, 10 loads of fun.
Airplane? It's not an airplane.
Oh, look how funny it is.
Yeah. Oh, there's
Just once you step here,
After a really long wait, I am rewarded with a fantastic view over Toronto. It was pretty packed at the top of the tower. There's a revolving restaurant on one of the other floors. I had a look online at their menu and it's not actually as expensive as I feared it would be. If I ever come back to Toronto, I will definitely try to eat in the restaurant to be able to enjoy the view and avoid the crowds. As well as an indoor and outdoor observation area, there's also a glass floor, but you can't really see much at night time.
So on the way down, everyone, you're overlooking the city of Toronto on the way down. You got 2 glass door panels in case you'd like to look down. You're traveling down the same speed at which you traveled up earlier, 22 kilometers an hour, 15 miles per hour, 58 seconds to get down to the ground. Anybody has questions on the way down, you got 22 seconds to go right ahead and ask whatever you like.
I know.
I had a fantastic time at the tower, but tiredness and hunger eventually caught up with me, so I took a slow stroll back to my hotel, picking up a Chinese takeaway on the way. I got this huge portion of aubergine and rice, which I enjoyed in bed. It was delicious, and there was so much of it that I was able to save half for my breakfast. I had a really early start the next day as I headed to the Niagara Falls. This is the whole reason that I came to Canada. As soon as I arrived, I headed for the Journey Behind the Falls experience. It was really cool, but it started to get very busy very quickly, so I'm glad that I did it first thing in the morning. There was a funicular railway as well, but unfortunately that was closed. A lot of the attractions were closed for the winter season. These are the Canadian Horseshoe Falls, and those ones are the American Falls. I'm just going to put it right out there. I thought that they would be bigger. Granted, this is only the 3rd time in my life that I've actually seen a waterfall, but for some reason in my mind I just imagined that they would be much bigger. That there in the distance is the Skylon Tower. Let's head there next. Check me out, I am totally over my fear of glass elevators. The view of the falls from up here is amazing! We are back on solid ground, having a look at the American Falls. So where I'm standing is in Canada, on the other side of the river is America. But for now, let's go in search of lunch. This street is amazing. It's like Blackpool. I love it so much. This is very, very me. I didn't have time to go on the big wheel, unfortunately, but I did have time to try Tim Hortons. They've got a vegan option, which I am really excited to try. There was a bit of a communication issue with the guy that served me, and I've got a bad feeling that he may have got my order wrong, but keep your fingers and toes crossed for me. What an absolute... Yeah, he's given me something that is clearly not vegan, and I don't have time to go back and change it because I need to be back on my bus. But I do have a backup plan. Right next to Mario is an ice cream shop, and I know they have a vegan option. No! Empty-handed, I get back on the bus. Next stop is the Niagara Whirlpool. It occurs in a 90-degree bend in the river, and it's 125 feet deep at its deepest. Back on the bus, we pass the world's smallest church, allegedly, and arrive in the small town of Niagara-on-the-Lake. It's beautiful, very beautiful. But before anything else, I need an ice cream. And this place is advertising vegan options. I asked the guy what they have.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, good. Have you got any vegan options? And he points out the 5 vegan flavours.
Vegan, I have a mango, dark chocolate, lemon, mandarin, and strawberry. This is
So I order.
a small, regular large.
A large one. And he says,
Do you like to get any vegan caramel spread inside a cone?
I mean, does the Pope shit in the woods? Of course I want caramel sauce. Here she is, the best ice cream I have ever had. I still dream about that ice cream most nights. I take my new best friend for a walk, and soon we arrive at the shores of Lake Ontario. Far too quickly, it's time to head back to the bus. Look, it's me! The final stop on the tour was a winery. I don't drink, so whilst my bus mates were being enticed into buying overpriced wine, I used the time wisely and went for a dump before heading back to Toronto, and straight to the airport for my overnight flight home. I tried again at Tim Hortons for their Beyond Sausage sandwich, and OMG, I almost moved to Canada on the spot. It was bloody delicious. A perfect end to a perfect trip. Okay, thank you for watching.